interest rate drops, and if you are still waiting to buy, you may be too late to the game. Welcome back everyone to my Monday market update. Today I am going to give you the most important information of the Arizona market in this week. And specifically, we are going to talk about mortgage rate, we talk about city, we talk about supply and the demand. We're also going to talk about the national market update. With that, let's dive right into the information. I have right here in front of me the most reliable data source, which is Comfort Associate for Arizona market data. So specifically, we think over the past 6 weeks, we've seen a clear trend that fewer homes for sale and more buyers come back to the market. That reflects to the Comfort Market Index change as well. As of today, it changed 9.4% compared to last month. That means the market continue to improve for the sellers. Out of 17 cities in the Phoenix area, 15 actually, but this week moving favorable to the sellers. Specifically, we talk about Paradise Valley with 7% at top, right? Fountain Hills next, 34%. Okay, there's only 2 cities that are actually favorable to the buyers, which is Maricopa and Tempe, but very low. Specifically, Tempe only 7% toward the buyer side, and Maricopa is about 4% toward the buyer side. The strongest market, as we see, there's some of them is like more than 10% growth toward the seller. Okay, we're talking about Avondale, which 14% growth now is at 115, which means that they are in the seller's market. We talk about Gilbert, another 14% growth. If you remember last week, we have about 10% growth. Now Gilbert is at 103, almost to the seller's market. Chandler, a little bit lower, 10%, but the index value is already at 124, which means Chandler is now in the seller's market. Peoria, another 14%, and Surprise is 10%. We have all over like across the Phoenix area, 15 out of 17 moving forward to the seller's market. Some cities have 10% growth, and some city is even more. As of right now, we have 6 sellers market in Phoenix area, which is Paradise Valley, Fountain Hills, Scottsdale, Chandler, Cave Creek, and Avondale. 4 in the balanced market: Glendale, Gilbert, Phoenix, and Mesa. The rest is still in the buyer market, but watch out because Peoria is very close. Tempe is also very close to the balanced market, and Goodyear is also very close to the balanced market. With that information, definitely the whole state, the whole Phoenix area is actually moving better and better for the seller. Some of you may ask why. Why is that? So we're going to talk about the why later, because that is actually the main topic for today. So hang around. Let's talk about the mortgage later at the end of this video. Right now, let's talk about the home price across the US. What we have been observing, according to the Case-Shiller Index, we have an increase year over year of 1.89% on average. We have actually in short term, month to month, 9 cities that's seeing the price rise. We're talking about Chicago, Minneapolis, and Detroit. We actually see a price increase. So a lot of you thinking like Phoenix is, for example, has reduced in price. That's going to be the similar situation across the countries, but it is not the case. Okay, it is not the case, which is another reason why I believe that it is not a crash. Because if there is a crash, all the cities across the countries has to reduce in price. But some cities go up, some cities goes down, right? Actually, 9 cities is a big metro area. 11 cities is slipping, that goes down, and most of them is south and the west of the country. Phoenix actually dropped 0.55%. That is the 19th place. That is a quick view of all the area across the country. As you see here, right now Phoenix is ranking number 19 out of the 50 biggest area across the country. And then we have some strongest growth. It's like New York, 7% growth, Chicago, 6% growth, Cleveland, 4.5%. Negative territory is also like Phoenix, as you know, Miami, Denver, San Diego, Dallas, San Francisco, and Tampa. Most of the negative is on the south and the west. The main reason I think is that the south and the west has grown the most during the COVID, and that is a little bit too much. And that's the reason why, as of right now, as the market cool down, right, they get impact of the negative, because not a lot of people can afford that over increase during the last couple of years, and therefore the price had to be adjusted back to normal. Now, Most important is we are going to talk about mortgage. And that is the reason why we see an increased demand right now. The interest rate as of today is on average about 6.52%. And by the way, this is a 30 years fixed rate. The reason why I have to highlight that is that if you do 15% fixed rate, then you can get potentially lower rate. If you get a builder interest rate, which is running about 4 to 5%, if you're interested in a brand new house. This is the typical conventional 30 years fixed rate. When we look at the data during this time of the year, last year, it is about 7% earlier of this year. To put into perspective, because some of you say 6.52 is still very high long, and I cannot afford to buy anything right now. But let's compare to long-term average. If you are living in the 70s or to 90s, your average is actually about 10% or sometimes even higher, because this is just the average, right? The long-term average meaning that the entire period that we measure the interest rate is about 7.3%. The current rate is about 6.52. While I agree with you, a lot of people are not feeling low for 6.52, but it's still much better than many buyers faces in the past. And that is exactly the reason why most of the buyers realize that this is a time that it should take action, and is actually to reflect in the data as well. The comfort demand index. So beside the comfort market index, which is measuring the whole market as one number, this is specifically measuring the demand. It has gone up 75.8 to 76.8 since early of August. We're also looking at the listing under contract, which is also up 6.9% compared to 7 weeks ago. That almost back to 2023 level, and show that as a proof that the buyers are re-entering the market. Okay, this is based on the number. So that means if you are still waiting, for those buyers that are still waiting as of today, you may be late to the game. People who are coming back right now, they are taking advantage of the situation that while it is moving better for the seller, it's still not very good for the seller. The buyers still have the negotiation power as of right now. But if this number right here, the number of listings under contract keep increasing like this, we are going to see the shortage of supply again. And at that time, the buyer is going to be competing it between themselves again. What do I think that it's going to keep the demand goes up? By the way, this is the comparison. The blue one is a comfort demand index. It has been growing for the last 7 weeks. And then the green line is the listing under contract is also growing. Everything grow. We see that a lot of buyer activities in recent time. Come back a little bit. Why do I think that more and more buyers will come back to the market? According to KCM, this is a buyer demand across the country. The blue line is the 2025 number, and starting in January is lower than last year, 2024. But as it's moving towards August, now we see that actually an increase, a slight increase compared to previous year. So that's number one. Maybe the buyers already get familiar with the market, because here's a fact. In 2025, the 30 years fixed rate, even though I said that the interest rate dropped 6.52% at the beginning of this presentation, but it has been around 6.5 to 7% since 2025. So the buyers already get used to the information, the market rate, and they just have to adjust that into the mindset. So that's the reason why it's continue going up like this, because the more people get familiar with the 6.5 range, the more people feeling comfortable with come back to the market. Experts expect this stability to continue. Okay, so here's the key point. The 6.5 to 7% interest rate will be around that. And even some of them suggest that the rate could go down. For example, we see that MBA forecasts the 6.4% interest rate toward Q4 of 2026, and then Freddie Mae is 6.0% and Wells Fargo is 6.6%. Obviously, you don't see a big drop when you look at this prediction, but you also see that the change is not much different compared to now. So even if you wait a little bit longer, you still get the same interest rate compared to here. I mean, hopefully that is get to 6, and it's going to be much better than 6.8, 6.5 as of right now. But if it is getting to 6.6, 6.4, then it's not much different compared to now. So that's even a small change compared to now. With that, I want to emphasize that the reason why the buyers getting back to the market is interest rate is dropping, and people already know that the range of change since 2025 is about 6.5 to 7, 6.5 to 7. It's never get close to that. So as of right now, the rate is very close to 6.5, and that's the reason why people feel, okay, this is the lowest that we can get. Even if you wait until 2026 and towards the end of 2026, you may also get about the same. Because 6.5 or 6.4 or 6.6, the payment doesn't change a lot. So the question come back is this: what if the interest rate is actually go down much more than 6.5? So I have a little chart right here for you to compare. Actually, if it changed from 7 with a home loan amount about 400, the monthly payment is going to be $26.61. At 6.75, you save about $66. At 6.5 is about $132 in terms of monthly payment. So if it go down significantly to 6, it's another 132, 130, 100. What happened is it's very close to 6.5, and a lot of people already see the saving 130 compared to 7%. If it goes, and according to the prediction that we saw before, right, it doesn't change much. But what if it goes really down to 6 point? It's going to be actually a $200, about $200 compared to saving compared to 7% interest rate. That time, a lot and a larger people will come back to the market. And what if it go down to 5 point? It's going to be saving more. So obviously, not just one, but there's going to be a lot. I don't know how many, but there's going to be a lot of people coming back to the market. What happened at that time? A lot of buyers are going to be competing against themselves. And that's going to be another COVID market. Buyers competing in one house, they have to bid up the price. They have to give up the inspection. They have to give up the closing costs. And that time it's going to be more and more difficult for you as a first-time home buyer to buy the first house. Some of you also may ask, what if the interest rate goes up? What if the interest rate go up? Yes, okay. If it go up more than 7, then sure, it's going to slow down the demand. 100% sure for that. How much? We don't know. We don't see that situation yet because as of right now, the market rate, the interest rate is very stable between 6.5 to 7%. So definitely it will reduce the demand if the interest rate go more than 7, but the chance that it happens is very less likely. My recommendation for you is this: come back to this Monday market update, and I will report to you immediately if there's any shift. But as of right now, we see that the shift is toward the lower interest rate. The bottom line is this: the buyer demand is climbing, the mortgage rate is also holding steady, and even a small change in rate can make it easy for people to buy a house. For the buyers, here's my advice to you: this could be the right moment to take action before the competition increases. In the other hand, if you are the seller, lack of inventory actually giving you the home a stronger advantage. However, though, it's still not a full seller's market yet across Phoenix area specifically. So you still have to price right, have the right marketing plan to make sure that you expose your house to the maximum amount of people across Arizona. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching today. If you're interested in receiving the weekly market update, feel free to subscribe to my channel or go to my website and then sign up for receiving the weekly market update. Thank you. Bye-bye.